That's great.
Okay, we are live on the air. Thank you for joining us on a stormy Thursday night.
Yeah.
May not be stormy where you are, but it's stormy where we are.
Now we have a
So,
live online offsite backup, so I think we're good.
yes, exactly. We are multinational.
That's right.
Okay, let's go ahead and kick this off. And here we go. Oh, all we can say is thank you. Thank you for joining us on a Thursday night. And welcome to Caching in the Northwest. This is the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the Great Pacific Northwest. We're going to talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So while you're driving between all 5 national parks in Utah, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
That's right. And it's time then to bring in our road tripping tamarin. Some say he can shift into 4th gear with only his left foot. Others say he tamed an antelope to carry him into the canyons. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hey guys, thank you very much for another kind introduction. Fortunately, I have 2 left feet, which makes that whole shifting into 4th gear thing a lot easier. And as always, we want to start off with thanking our faithful Denali level supporters, worldcaching.com, and wait for it, Team Squirrel.
Woo!
Hey, we've got a new Denali level supporter. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Team Squirrel and worldcaching.com. Folks, if you want to know more about supporting this show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. Now, for tonight's show, here's the little hook to get you all in. We're going to talk about the Visit Utah Geotour. And not only are we going to talk about it, because we talked about it a little bit last week,
Mm-hmm.
this week, we're going to talk about it with people who actually know something about it. So we've got some guests who are joining us live from Utah. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But first of all, hey, dear listeners, did you know that Caching the Northwest can spruce up your geocaching.com profile page with a very fancy badge? That's right. If you submit a glow or geocaching log of the week, you can have a glow badge of your very own. Nobody else can have it. It's yours.
That's right. So whether you wrote it or whether you read it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply makes geocaching better. Send an
And
email.
houses too.
Well, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Never thought about that. Send an email to feedback@cachingnw.com or call into 253-693-TFTC. There's even a voicemail tool right there on the website, so you can show us how you glow.
It's a great tool. It works well. I've heard excellent submissions from that there very tool. This week's glow, well, it comes to us from a West LA Cashers Make Your Own Holiday event. If you want to go look that one up, it's GC70NYK. Not NYC. This is NYK. And the log is from GSM X2, and it reads, "This was so worth the trip. I took Pacific Coast Highway to take the opportunity to check on some of my southbound and northbound Highway 1 geocaches that had recent DNFs. I found a few, replaced a few, and archived a few because the corresponding objects were gone. At one point near Sycamore Canyon, I was able to spot the blow of 2 whales, which was confirmed when I saw them blow a second time. Most likely this was a mother and her newborn calf. They tend to stay nearer the shore and stay on the surface as the calves do not have the lung capacity of an adult. Very nice talking to new people and the usual suspects. You all put a lot of thought and effort into these monthly meet and greets. I'm working toward getting my 20,000th find at the Ojai Sito event on April 23rd. This will count as number 19,837. Thanks for the smiley and a good time."
Wow, that is a lot of geocache finds.
That's a
That's
lot.
something for you to look forward to there, Land Monkey.
Yeah.
Next goal. There you go.
Yeah.
Next goal. Do that by Christmas.
Okay.
And then call in on the voicemail tool and tell us.
Gotta go.
Okay.
Well, hey, speaking of milestones, if there is a milestone cache find you're celebrating, why not call it into 253-693 TFTC and share it with the entirety of the Northwest geocaching community? Like, well, our friend and friend of the show, Lyman.
I found my
Well, every week I seem to have issues with this.
calling in with a milestone. Yesterday, I found my cache number 2001. Appropriately, it's called HAL 9000, and the GC code is GC1 November 535. Difficulty 3, terrain 1.5, and I would agree it was about where it should be. Thanks so much.
Well, that's awesome. We appreciate that contribution. And sometimes that's all we really hope for, is that cache is where it should be.
I think he meant the difficulty in terrain was about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that too.
Exactly.
Not too many surprises. Hey, we are podcasting tonight, and coincidentally, it's also storming tonight. So if you hear a little rumbling in the background, it's not my stomach this time. There's some big thunderclaps and things going on. So if we disappear from the podcast, Land Monkey is prepared to take over. It's a Canadian takeover.
But it's a sanctioned Canadian takeover. I just want to get that right, straight right away.
As opposed to the usual unsanctioned.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, wait a minute. Why did a podcast start and I wasn't there? Hey, gentlemen.
What?
Speaking of podcasts, no, we're not talking.
Let's do one
podcast. Okay. Hey, did you get your big blue switch souvenir this week?
Yes, sir, Bob.
Surely I did.
And I grabbed Wits End and went out to a nearby cache that had many, many favorite points. I want to say 2/3 of the finders have given it a favorite point. So, when you're at 67 to 70% favorite points, that's one worth going for.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I took, of course, Wits End with me because it was a puzzle cache, and, he solved it before I even had a chance to figure out what was going on.
Well, that's why we bring them with us.
Exactly.
Wow, that's why.
Yeah.
Amongst the reasons. All right. Hey, well, we found a very cool cache. It was a size large, which was nice.
They have those.
They're every once in a while. You go for them. Yeah. It was by permission on private property. It was a TB hotel, and it was the kind of cache in a cedar hedge I don't mind finding, because it was a beautifully crafted wooden box with the geocaching logo embossed on the front, and nice. Yeah. Oh, it was just a beautiful, beautiful cache. So we gave it a favorite. It already has a few, and hopefully it will continue to do so. And we even dropped a brand new trackable. We're starting on its journey off in that one. So
you say wooden box? Was it cedar?
It was. Actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It even smelled nice still. So, yeah.
A cedar box and a cedar hedge.
Yeah. It was all good. It was all good.
Where are you going with that?
I cedar what you did there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If you got a cedar box. Anyways. Other news. I was recently pointed to an article from the Costco magazine. Not everybody necessarily reads the Costco magazine.
That's the Costco Connections. And you know what? That is one of the few magazines I actually do read. They have some very good articles in there.
Well, there you go. You read it for the articles.
I only read it for the articles, yes.
Okay.
Obviously.
I'll tell you, this particular article was about geocaching. And as it turns out, this article included an interview with our very own Caching the Northwest regular listener and research department, Brylang.
No way. That guy is the research department for Costco as well?
Apparently.
Yes.
Wow.
In the chat, he says, hey, I'm in that article.
That's why we're mentioning it. So if you have a copy of the Costco Connections, we're not going to read the article online or on the air here tonight, but I'd encourage you to go check it out. It's a pretty good introduction to geocaching, and of course, features our favorite research department member.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to go post a Needs Archived on that article.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No, never mind.
Hey, I have to say, when I logged the find here on the 2nd for the big blue switch, I had to go look and see how hard it is to do Needs Archived. And it's a couple of steps now. It's not as easy as it used to be. So kudos to you, geocaching.com, for making that more difficult to accidentally put up there.
Wonder if we had anything to do with that.
I think we should take full credit for that.
We're making geocaching better.
That's
for
right.
everyone.
By making life difficult.
For a few.
That was fun. All right. Well, hey, speaking of fun things, a reminder that worldcaching.com has put together a CETO prize pack for April. That's right, folks. If you participate in a CETO event, and they're probably all gone now, but if you did participate in a CETO event, mail us your attended log. Send us the link to your attended log for that event. The more events, the more entries. So yeah, if you went to a couple of CETOs, send us both the logs. You'll get 2 entries. How cool is that? Submit your entry by emailing feedback@cachingnw.com and use the subject CETO, CITO. In fact, you can spell it pretty much any way you want. And as long as we can figure out that it's actually saying CETO, we'll probably enter you in the contest. But if you want to definitely get entered in the contest, just use CITO in your subject line. All right. And to be eligible, your entry must be in by midnight, May 10th, 2017. And that's it's only like 5 days from today. So get your butts in here.
You got to get those in if you want to win this prize pack. This isn't just one trackable here, folks.
Really? It's an entire Paco.
That's what I've heard.
Nice.
One more point to talk about. The hike to Monte Cristo on the 20th. We're not entirely convinced that's going to happen. The road is not open as of yet, and typically they don't open it until the first week in June. So we will keep you up to date, but we may have to come up with a plan B for a hike to Monte Cristo on another date. I'm sorry, folks.
It's been a little wet this winter, so
yeah,
a little wet.
That means extra snow.
Yeah.
The cunning minds at cachingnw.com have been working on a plan B. So fear not, folks. There will be a plan B if we have to fall back to it. And hopefully it won't be a usual Chris of the Northwest road trip plan of, let's do it.
He's working hard. I could smell the smoke and hear the gears grinding. It worked. Yeah.
There you go. All right. What else?
We have another contribution from frequent listener, friend of the show, Subway Mark. He wrote in and said, "Hey there, I just heard my name mentioned on episode 196 about a day camp involving geocaching and transit. Too bad it's for middle schoolers. Sounds like I should host an adult day camp for geocaching and transit. Hey, count me in."
I'd go to that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. He adds, I just got back from a business trip to Japan. Sounds like fun. Although I did not do much caching, the ones I did get were near train stations. Go figure, right?
Shocker.
What a coincidence.
I mean, a guy that loves trains and a country that loves trains, you put them together, your odds are you'll find geocaches near train stations. He says, actually, one cache I noted while riding the Cebu line to Kawagoe. I don't know if I pronounced those right because I'm not Japanese. It was a regular size with travel bugs to swap. So on my way back, I got off at the nearby station to make the find. The cache was right next to the rail line, probably a little too close, although there was a low fence between me and the tracks. I had walked over 11 miles that day, and according to Fitbit, I walked up 31 flights of stairs. And he adds, this is in prep for the Monte Cristo hike. And as Chris of the Northwest just mentioned, Subway Mark, you've got a little more time to prepare for that Monte Cristo hike, I think. Odds are pretty good it's not going to happen on the 20th. But it will happen.
But walking
it's going to happen. We want to do it this. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Lane Monkey. I was
just going to say, walking 11 miles and 31 flights of stairs in a day is definitely going to get you in shape for that.
That's good, yeah. Unless his Fitbit set the binary and then he only walked 3 miles.
Oops. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Always flipping a binary. Flipping the bit.
All right. Well, if you guys are all done flipping the bits, I think it's time to welcome our guests into the show here. So we are very pleased to welcome 3 folks from Utah joining us live from Utah tonight. So, we're very, very broadly covering the Northwest tonight. Mm-hmm. Awesome. First of all, we've got Danny Brewer, aka Railroader 921. Danny, welcome to the show.
Hi, and thanks for having me.
Very welcome. We also have Nolan and Donna, DRGW3128. We're just going to call you Nolan. And
That rolled off your tongue very well. Congratulations.
Yeah. Delta Romeo Golf Whiskey 3128.
That works.
Nobody. Yeah. There you go. And of course, Donna, Utah Snowflake. I love Utah Snowflake. I'm just going to call you that.
Oh, thank you.
Well, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves, introduce yourselves to the motley crew in the chat room.
Okay, I'll start. My name's Danny Brewer. I'm an avid cacher since 2011. I'm almost to about 3,000 finds, and I've placed over 300 caches around Utah, Wyoming, and Nevada. I've hosted 7 events. In the fall of 2015, the Utah State Office of Tourism approached me about doing the Visit Utah Geotour, and I've been working with them on and off in a volunteer fashion, I guess, to get it done. I'm the first official Utah Geo Ambassador, and that is actually something that is on my paycheck. It's my actual title at the Utah Office of Tourism, which is a little silly, I think, but
I think it's awesome. Yeah,
I think it's pretty awesome, you know. And since that time, we've been able to have quite a few more people qualify to be Geo ambassadors to the state of Utah by completing our Geotour. That's about it for me right now. So go ahead.
All right, this is Nolan. Donna and I have been geocaching since November of 13. I'm somewhere over 6,000. I've lost count. Finds. I've got 105 active at the moment. Danny approached us, I guess, shortly after he was approached about working with the Utah Office of Tourism, and was looking for people to help him out, and especially in some of the counties he didn't have folks to work with. And we're the unofficial fix-it team for the state. If there's a cache has a problem, we kind of, what do you need, and we'll go out and fix it.
Yeah, we started out with just a couple of counties that we were going to keep an eye on, and we've ended up helping place in lots of different counties. And yeah, I think that we have probably maintained in every single county at one point or another. And it's been a great excuse to get out and go and see our state too. I've loved it.
If nothing else,
I gotta say,
if nothing else, we went out and we performed maintenance by finding them, and provided feedback to those that needed it.
very cool. Well, hey, folks, we want to get a little bit of a sense of how the Visit Utah Geotour works. So what we're asking is, what does a cacher have to do? Where do they go? And what might they be rewarded with?
Ooh, rewards.
Mm.
We have some great rewards. First of all, the Utah Geotour covers the entire state of Utah. There are 5, and in fact, there's 6 in 1 or 2 counties. Geocaches, they're all ammo cans, with the exception of a couple that just can't. The ammo cans just don't stay there; they disappear. So, but they're all regular size finds, and they're all over the entire state. The idea is that you find 3 of the 5 in each county in the state of Utah, and when you find 3 caches, there's a link on each of the cache pages, and you get to fill out a little 3-question survey for the Office of Tourism, and they give you this patch for that county. Here's I don't know who's on video, but I'm showing the Carbon County patch here.
He says, "Hold that up to the camera."
This one is for Garfield County.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Nice.
And
nice looking. Mm-hmm.
Here's one for Carbon County. These were all designed by our artists on staff at the Utah Office of Tourism, and each county has its own patch. The cool thing about these, here's Salt Lake County. It's pretty cool. It's got the mountains there. Pretty
Very
cool.
nice.
Very cool.
Anyway, yeah, there's 29 counties in Utah, so that makes for 145 caches to find. If you want to find all 145, you only have to find 87 of them to be a geo ambassador. If you find if you find 3 in each county, you're an official Utah geo ambassador, and you get this cool jacket.
Nice.
Like the one you're wearing right now?
Yeah, the one I'm wearing right now is our official Geotour jacket. It comes in orange and black and red. We also have a denim version for the people that like to put their patches on the jacket. So they sew on. This is a soft shell, waterproof. It's really lightweight jacket. It's about $50 jacket. So I don't know any Geotour that you can get a $50 jacket for free.
No,
It's a
we're
pretty
pretty
cool jacket.
impressed.
On the front, it says Utah Life Elevated on one side and geocaching on the back. And on the back, it says official Utah Geo Ambassador.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, so it's a pretty nice jacket. And the denim one is pretty cool too. And you can sew your patches on it. It's kind of a little bit heavier denim. It's a nice jacket. And if you're not interested in the jacket, we can give you a shadow box for you to put that holds you can put all your patches and your geocoin on the into the shadow box and display it on your desk. You don't have to get all 29 counties to earn this really cool geocoin, though. You only need to get 10 counties. So that's 30 caches. You have to find 3 caches in 10 states. And here's the cool geocoin that you get. It's got the delicate arch, which is
Ooh,
down
shiny.
there in Moab. Yeah, sorry. It's just the reflection in here.
Those
But
patches are going to quilt too. That'd be good.
Yeah, you could put the patches on a quilt. Here's the back side. It's got a skier on it. It's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, we have the patches, and then we have the geocoin, the official geocoin. It's trackable, and we have the jacket that you can earn. And if you're willing to totally go around the entire state and find a bunch of caches, you're not only going to get patches and coins and cache finds, you're going to get a tour. That's what I like about it, is that I worked with the Utah Office of Tourism to put these caches in like the 5 coolest spots in every county. And I was able to, and each of the cache locations had to be approved by the state of Utah and the county that it's in. These are official caches. We've gotten great permission to place these caches. You don't have to worry about lurking around. Just come up and find these caches. They're in amazing places, and they're not all easy to get to. I tried to make 3 of the 5, but the other 2 in each county are going to be either multis or puzzles or where I goes. We have some where I goes. We have backcountry caches. Some of them are quite difficult to get to. Some of them require you going on a dirt road or maybe going on a hike. And the idea is that we have a well-rounded set of caches for you to find. We also have some gadget caches. We have some unique hides that are pretty cool. And all in all, it's a really top-notch geotour. I think we compete with Gold Country Geotour. I think we compete with the West Virginia caches that West Virginia Tim has put out. This is a must-do geotour, even if you only find 3 caches. If you're down in Phoenix, for example, and want to make a run up to Utah, and I understand Land Monkey did that recently and came up and was able to get some of the southern states. And when I found out that he did that, I actually invited Nolan and Donna to come up, because they're the ones that placed those caches. And a lot of those caches in Wayne County and Capitol Reef area and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, you should talk to the person that placed that cache.
Nice.
So anyway, Nolan and Donna are among about 20 volunteers that we have all around the state. These are just members of the geocaching community that have volunteered to place caches for us, and depending on what they want to do, that some of them they own the caches themselves, or if they don't want to own them, then we publish them under the Visit Utah caching
account.
Under that account. And so but you can go to the Geotour landing page and you can see the entire list, and that's at Visit Utah, or that's at www.geocaching.com/play/geotours/Visit Utah. Or you can go to the app and go to Geotours. We are GT54. And you can click on that and you can download all the caches on the official geocaching app, all of our Geotour caches in one block, kind of like a PQ, right down onto your phone, and then you can put them on, or you can put them onto your Garmin or whatever. So we also have our own website on the visitutah.com website. There's a page on there for geocaching, and the visitutah.com website is a great place to go before you come to Utah, because it's going to give you all kinds of links about all of the different places that you can go while you're caching. There are over 30,000 caches in the state of Utah, and they're in some amazing places. We have state parks, I think over 40 state parks. It's hard to keep track of them all in the state of Utah, and they're just as cool as the national parks. We have 5 national parks. We've got Capitol Reef, we've got Bryce Canyon, we've got Arches National Park, we've got Zions, and we have Canyonlands National Park. And those national parks are referred to as the Mighty Five because they're so close together, and in southern Utah.
And they're pretty mighty.
They are. They're pretty amazing. The geology and topography that you're going to see visiting these national parks is just like nothing else in the world. And as you travel from one national park to another, you're going to be able to find our geocaches are kind of ideally placed along the way as you go from one national park to another in the state parks and places like that. So it's pretty cool. You're gonna travel thousands and thousands of miles to find all of these caches. It's not something you can do in a day. So we encourage you to come and do 3 or 4 counties, or maybe 10 counties in your first trip, and then come back and do another portion of the state, and really take your time and see all that Utah has to offer.
That's great. Hey, Danny, we have a question from our chat that I think is very relevant to what you're talking about at the moment. And it's, do you need a parking pass for the state parks?
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. There, you can, you are going to have to, there's an entrance fee into the state parks. If you go to the state parks website, they do have a year pass for $75. That's pretty great. You can go to all of the state parks for an entire year, whereas if some of them are more expensive than others to go to, some of them are just lakes, like Minersville Reservoir, for example, is like $3 or $4 to go to, but some of them, like Snow Canyon, have more expensive parks.
Yeah, I would highly recommend picking one up.
Yeah, the state parks pass, and I can find a link that we can put in if we need to. Yeah, just go to Utah State Parks, and I think it's or you can call the Utah Office of Tourism at any time, or go to their website. You can get a hold of them at visitutah.com and reach them through there, and they'll hook you up. So
I imagine you could pick those up at any state park you go to as well.
That's true. You can also pick them up at the first state park you go to. You can pick up that pass right at the gate. And
when we came in, we thought, you know what, this is just going to make it so much easier. And plus, we're planning to come back in August to visit the northern counties. So you as well have them.
yeah, if you're going to come up to the northern counties, you know, some of the like Antelope Island, which is an island out in the middle of the Great Salt Lake. There's a big causeway. It'll cost you $18 or $20 just to go out and see that. There's a American bison herd out on the island. It's pretty cool out there. There's a lot of really neat topography and an old historical farm out on the island there. And that alone is, and you know, it's going to take you an hour to see the park there, but that's $20 right there. So why not just invest in the $75 year pass, and then you can go to any one of the state parks.
And if you're serious at all about completing the Geotour, I mean, inside of a year, it would make this pass will pay for itself in that time.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, in the chat, we have Broncos fans for life, who's very happy with the orange colored jacket. Being a Broncos,
I like it too. The it's the state color we have of Visit Utah, actually. So you're definitely visible when you're wearing it. People come up and talk to you. What is up with that jacket? But yeah, it comes in black and red, and I think we have a silver or gray version too.
I think it's called silver, really nice. But it is a gray. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a gray color, so you can pick a color, and it comes in your size. It's a really comfortable jacket. It's not hot. You know, it doesn't have a lot of insulation, but you can wear it inside, and you can wear it in cool weather or in cold weather. It's like a nice under jacket for when you're skiing too. I was
just about to say that I wore mine up on the slopes, and it was a great layer.
But I love it. It's water resistant. It's not quite waterproof, but it's pretty close. It's a great jacket.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got the patches for all 29 counties. You've also got a coin that you get when you've done all 20. How many people?
When you've done 10. All you have to do is 10.
Sorry, you're right. When you've done 10. Mm-hmm. How many people have earned this coin?
I believe we have 88 as I last checked. I could, if you ask me that. I don't have that box open. I don't have that window open on I had those stats up a second ago, and that window's not open. I believe we're at 88 that we've given away so far of the coins.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's you know, most of them are local cachers. Mm-hmm. They live in Utah, but
I was going to say, I think I know most of them.
Yeah, we have had cachers come in and earn the coin from out of state too. So,
well, now you know one of them from BC.
Yeah, yeah. We even had somebody come in from Norway, I guess.
Wow.
Too. So we've had people come in from out of state, in California, Oregon, where cachers have come in, and that's what the Office of Tourism really gets excited about, and that's why they're willing to invest in this Geotour. And it's not an inexpensive thing to host a Geotour. And we're very thankful to the Utah Office of Tourism for sponsoring this program.
Nice. Now, Nolan, you've also done this, right?
Of course.
You've gotten have you done them all? Have you done all 145 caches?
I am short 4.
Oh, so you still have a challenge ahead of you. Now, how long have you invested in finding the 141 caches? See, I did that math.
Many weekends.
Okay, let's put this into perspective. When this first started showing up, it was March of 15, and I think we had our 3 Utah County patches within the first 2 days. I didn't touch it again until November, after Danny contacted me, and then from that November, then it took us until September when we got our last county finished off. Mm-hmm. So that was what, 10 months?
Yeah.
But we spread it out a little bit. We just did a lot of little weekenders, just one day up and one day back, and so it took us a little bit longer. But I know some people have pounded through and have gotten it done relatively quickly.
Yep. I did find the stats. As of yesterday, we have given out 88 coins, 36 jackets, 2 wall displays, which is the shadow box. And we have had 4,495 unique cachers have found at least one Geotour cache, and 839 unique cachers have found at least 3 Geotour caches. So 839 cachers have found at least one earned at least one patch, and so that's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it is.
That's
It is.
very good. Yeah.
You
And
know,
have those 4,400 cachers provided some good feedback on the Geotour?
we do. Yeah, oh yeah, it's been amazing. The logs are so much fun to read. I'll spend a whole day. Sometimes, like on a holiday weekend or something like that, we'll get 150 logs in,
Sure.
and just reading those is something that I really enjoy. It's just reading through those logs. To qualify for the patch, though, we do have a verification system. We don't really have the ability to go out and check logs because there are only 20 of us, and it's about, it's a huge state. So we do ask that you upload a pic, not necessarily of yourself, but it doesn't have to be a selfie, for example, but it has to be near or at the ground zero of the cache, and it has to be taken by you. And that's how we verify the finds. So when you do find your caches, upload a pic, and we'll just randomly look at a few of your caches, and that is awesome because the pictures of the people having fun caching have just been so cool. It's so much fun to take the collection of these pictures and take them out to the different tourism events and say, look what people are doing in your county, and they're having fun. So yeah, upload a pic with your find, and then you go to the link on the cache page, and you have to fill out that little 3 or 4 question survey, and then we'll mail you the patch or the coin or the jacket.
And overall feedback about the tour has been, thank you for showing me this. I would have never imagined seeing this without the Geotour. It is very gratifying to hear things like that. And I'm sure the state appreciates hearing those words as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I would say for us, when we started planning the trip down there and looking at some of the different spots that the Geotour is going to take us, we came across Goblin Valley State Park, and we'd never heard of it otherwise.
Haven't you seen Galaxy Quest?
Right.
Goblin Valley is such a cool place.
It really is, and
it's so like a corn maze, but made by Mother Nature, isn't it?
It really is.
It's
and the fact that you can actually go walk down in amongst them was pretty amazing. Like, not a lot of parks gonna let you do that.
Yeah, there's no trails in Goblin Valley. You just walk down into the valley, and you walk among all of these. They call them hoodoos. These geologic formations. They look like big mushrooms, and they're anywhere from 4 to 30 feet tall. And it's absolutely one of our hidden gems in the state of Utah, and we absolutely love to tell people about it because it's something you have to see.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of caches that we gave favorites to for either the location or the adventure we had there or getting there, or even sometimes the ammo can itself was decorated in a great way. So, awesome job on.
That's actually my mom.
Really?
Yeah, her name is her caching name is Madam Butterfly 1822, and she is a retired elementary school teacher. And when I told her about caching, she got into caching, and we hosted some events together. And she does letterboxing and arts and crafts, and she has painted about 38 geocache containers, the ammo cans, and hopefully we can get her to do some more too. So we'll be painting some more of those those cans. She does a great job painting the can in the theme of the cache location.
She really does.
So
We
it's pretty
were
cool.
really impressed with her work. So thank her for us.
Yeah, hear that, Judy? We need more. We need more cans painted.
I'm kind of disappointed we didn't find Goblin Valley after she painted the can, because we found it where it was in the tour.
Oh, there's a painted Goblin Valley can?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
that
need to
one's
go
cute.
back.
Yeah, that one's funny. So hey, speaking of favorites and cool ammo cans, what are some of the top favorited caches on the Geotour?
Well, go ahead. You want to go with that, Nolan, or
you go ahead, Danny. You go ahead.
Okay.
You probably got.
I've
you
got
probably
it
got a
up
little
right.
more informed opinion than I.
Well, the most favorited cache is one that we picked up from. It was placed previous to the Geotour. It already had 50 favorites on it, and so we was like, hey, we have to. So we were able to get a hold of the cacher and invite him to include that cache in the Geotour, and it's called Tory Treasure. It's in Wayne County. It's in a really cool little. What would you?
It's in a teepee.
Yeah, it's in a teepee is what it is, and it's at a little store there in Wayne in Torrey, which is right outside of Capitol Reef National Park, and it's just a wonderful find, and he did a great job, and it's got 98 favorite points.
Mrs.
So far.
Landmark was very excitedly yelling, "Yes, we have a picture of me holding it."
Well, yeah, that's probably our most favorited cache. There are some caches up in northern Utah that have a lot of favorites. One of mine that I have placed is in Davis County, and it is called Beautiful Urban Trails, and is that what it's called? Let me see.
That sounds familiar.
Beautiful Urban Trails, and it's a birdhouse, and it's right off of the freeway. You can come in and get it, and get off one exit and get on the other, and be on your way. It's right next to an amusement park, so the roller coaster, you can hear the roller coasters rolling right across the street there at Lagoon Amusement Park, and it's got about 61 favorite points right now.
Impressive.
Yeah, so for being around for a year and a half. And then we had another one up in Park City area that is a gadget cache. It's made by Hiking Seal, and it's gotten a lot of favorites. It recently was muggled, and we had to move it, and it was too far to move and maintain the same cache page. So we did lose a lot of the favorite points as a result of that. But the cache is still there. It's just been moved over to the next town. And that one is in Summit County. And the name of that is
Wash Your Cashmobile.
Wash Your Cashmobile. And that was painted by my mom as well. And that's a gadget cache. And it's currently got 7 new favorites, but it actually has about 75 favorite points because the old page was archived, and we had to put a new case.
I moved mine over. Don't worry about it.
I don't know if I've moved my favorite point over there, but we also have some great caches in the middle of the state. In one of the neat things about this Geotour is that it takes you to the lesser visited parts of Utah, and in central Utah, in Sanpete County, it's just a beautiful pastoral farming communities as you drive along a little lane road, and you go through this really cool canyon, and there's a place called Big Rock Candy Mountain, and it's an old rail trail there, and when they shut the railroad down because there was a mudslide, and the mudslide came down up north, and it blocked the railroad there. And all of the train cars that were on the tracks got stuck. They couldn't get them out there. So Big Rock Candy Mountain is a little museum and hotel where they have all these old cabooses. and you can actually go there and spend the night in a caboose, and that's a pretty cool little place there. There's also a zip line there, and Big Rock Candy Mountain is a beautiful place. The canyon, there's the rail trail has been converted into a biking path, and there's kayaking along the river there. There's a zip line. It's just a beautiful little resort stopover on your way from southern Utah to northern Utah, and it's out away from the freeway, and it's a beautiful place. One of my personal favorites is Big Rock Candy Mountain.
We enjoyed the visit there as well, Danny. That was great. Hey, we mentioned earlier that Utah has, in fact, 5 national parks and dozens of state parks, making it somewhat unique in the U.S. We've seen more and more state parks in the various states working with geocaching associations around the country. Now, you guys were able to work with the Utah State Parks to place the caches in them. And how did that work out? Was there anything tricky or any advice you could give to people who are trying to work with the state parks?
Actually, it was easier than we thought, because the Utah State Parks had actually done they were familiar with geocaching, and they had done a Geotrail in 2009, and that trail had about 100 caches in it, but they all kind of fell into disrepair and were no longer being supported by the State Parks Association themselves. But those caches were still out there, and a lot of them were still active, and we were able to adopt several of those caches and put new logbooks in them, and put maintain them, and include them into the Geotour. So a lot like Kodachrome State Park down in Garfield County that was a former Utah State Parks Geotrail cache that the Utah Office of Tourism adopted, and that's a little really cool geologic area. It's about 45 minutes north of Bryce Canyon National Park, so you can head over there when you're done going on your hike and see the cool geologic formations over in Kodachrome. And there's another one in Anasazi State Park, has a former State Parks cache in it. Snow Canyon, is it Snow Canyon? Yeah, that's another state park. Anyway, so they were really happy to have us bring back their Geotrail and include it into the Geotour. So it was actually pretty easy. That was my role actually in the Geotour, was doing all the legwork, getting permissions and finding locations. It was a lot of red tape, a lot of phone calls to be made, because each cache, I would come up with like 10 locations in each county, and then I would have to submit those locations to that county's Office of Tourism, and they would say, no, that's not something that we're interested in having a geocache at, and then you'd have to go to the property owner or the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, or the state park, and find the actual ranger or officer that was in charge of that location and get their permission. And then you had to find somebody to go out and place the cache, because I live in northern Utah, and that's where people like Nolan and Donna came in. Like I said, we had 20 volunteers help us with this, and they all were able to go out and place the actual caches and get the coordinates for us. So that was pretty cool. We've had a lot of geocaching 101 along the way, because you tell them, you want to do what? You want to put a box where? So a lot of that going on.
It's an educational opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and it's a beautiful state. Some great experience, great terrain there and everything. Now, you've mentioned numerous counties, numerous state parks. That's quite a distance to travel. This is not something that you're going to do in just a day or two. You guys talked about doing it several weekends and stuff, but you mentioned other people have done it in much shorter time. However, I think there's still going to be some overnights involved. Are there any hotel, motel specials that are associated with the Geotour? Have you worked with any organizations like that?
Not at this time. but the best way to get deals on staying is to go to the visitutah.com website and actually call the Utah Office of Tourism. They have a couple of people that man the phones right there, and they'll be happy to answer you any of your questions. There are all kinds of links on the visitutah.com webpage that give you really good information on where to stay, and there's maps on there and things to do, everything from where to put have your pet be boarded, or KOA campgrounds and things like that. The visitutah.com website is your resource for that.
Great.
And if you're going on the tour and you have a state parks pass, it's just as easy to camp in a state park.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's included with your state parks pass, the camping. So.
Love that.
And as long as you don't need luxury,
Broncos
Well,
Fans for Life is going to go do this in June, and she's already she's already got the path worked out. She says optimized route is 3,400 miles of driving.
Nice.
If you can do that, I bet you're going to do twice
from
that
Washington
though.
and back.
From Washington and back. That's why.
Oh, from Washington and back. That's great that you've got it all mapped out. We've gotten a couple people send us maps like that where they're like, we're going to go down and we're going to start up north and we're going to hit these 5 and then we're going to go over here. And let's face it, when you come and you find a cache at a cool location, it's not going to be a park and grab. That's what, and honestly, I don't want you to have a park and grab Geotour. I want you to stop and find a couple of the local caches. We have a really great caching community, and there are amazing caches in all of these locations. And just be, you'll want to find the Geotour cache, but take a minute and go find a couple more while you're there, and maybe stop in one of the local restaurants and have a burger or something like that. And then when you fill out your form, your little survey to get your patch, let us know where you ate, because we sure would like to let our businesses and let them know that the geocachers are welcome and coming to their communities. That's what the Geotour is all about. Is
probably
getting
even an earth
people
cache or
there.
two there.
Oh my gosh, maybe
one or two.
Yeah, there is. There's one or two. Actually, there's hundreds. So yeah.
So yeah, and while you're bringing that up, a couple of things come to mind. So first of all, the passport itself, that you guys did mail them out to us, and we really appreciate it. I think it was Ben that sent them out to us. Really
Ben, that's our lackey. Ben Dodds is our lackey at the Utah Office of Tourism. Yeah.
He's awesome.
He's our full-time staff of one.
Well, he's awesome. He got that stuff out to us and has been really supportive. And even just the passport is really nice. You guys are doing a great job on just putting that together. But Nolan, you guys were mentioning in the show notes a little bit about some of your adventures, and you guys mentioned that you did a few weekend road trips. Do you guys want to maybe share some of your thoughts about that?
Well, sure. The motivation, I guess, that took over when we started working the tour is just we've got a weekend where we're going to go, kind of a thing. And we'd go out, work a county. We'd be a few hours before sunset. We'd look up a place to stay, and you'd be surprised what the things you can find in these small towns. I mean, if you don't need luxury, you just need a place to sleep, you can find very reasonable rooms and great holes in the walls to eat. It's amazing what you can find if you just do a little bit of digging out there. And it's been fun to see this state. I mean, there's so many places. I've lived here my whole life, and there's places I've never known about and never seen and never would have experienced without this tour.
I have loved driving through all the small towns. And that's been one of my favorite parts, is just seeing the tiny towns, visiting the small local businesses. And then also the variety of the Geotour caches too, I think has been a lot of fun. There's a lot of caches that are in very scenic areas, some that are in historical areas, some that are just really fun gadget caches. So the variety's been great as well. There's so much, what would the right word be, like diversity
Mhm.
in
Perhaps,
the state.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I would, sorry, I was just
a
gonna
great
say,
many of the
definitely agree
a
with
great
that.
many of the caches, the location is the prize. And some of them don't have a location that is a prize, and that's where you'll get a gadget. But sometimes you have both. It's amazing, and if you take a moment to step back and take in your surroundings, the intangible reward you get from being there is just amazing.
Absolutely. I was going to say we enjoyed part of the fun of the challenge of taking photos at each of the locations and just having some fun with it. We got some great photos that Mrs. Lamb Monkey was mentioning earlier, the one of her stepping out of a teepee with this amazing wooden box. Another one where
I
I'm
know
sitting
which
on a
box
tractor.
you speak of.
Another one with me on a tractor with an ammo can. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's been fun to try to find places to hide these. It's really been a challenge to go to an approved location and think, where can we put this?
Either that or find a location that it's, oh, that's perfect. Now, where do we put it?
Yeah.
Quite a bit down in Wayne County. The locations, like the views were spectacular, but there were very few rocks to hide it under.
And you don't want to put it in the drainage either, so we got to get creative here. It was Wayne County is, I mean, aside from that one that was adopted in, that's one we had to place on the fly as we were driving through, and it was a joy and a challenge, and
So here's a fun little story about that. So we were given permission to place one of the Geotour caches at Glass Mountain, which is in the Cathedral Valley area of Capitol Reef. And so we were heading on this long dirt road. And what did we guess it would be? About 20 miles to get to Glass Mountain?
we were at least 20 miles in when we
so
gave
it was
up.
still longer than that. And we still never made it to Glass Mountain. There was a huge storm that came in, a huge deluge of rain. We were crossing in and over washes and kind of made the executive decision that would probably not be the best place to put it. So we turned around and we were heading back to the highway looking for an alternate spot. And we came up onto this rise where down in this area of Capitol Reef, it's in an area where two of the tectonic plates have shifted and have fanned upwards, and the road is driving parallel in between these two different plates. And you come to this point in the road and you can see miles and miles down the road, and you realize how huge this formation really is. And so I chose that spot and that's the Road to the Temples cache. And I chose that spot. And I hope that when people go and find that cache that they saw what I saw. I don't know. Now, did you see that when you went? And
as you said, just as you were describing it, Don, my wife was sitting on the couch beside me, held her hands up. I went, yes, that one.
Yeah, that was one where I was so excited about the spot, the geology, the view, and then it's like, where do we put it? There's nothing out here. So that was our little challenge, but we made it work.
That was definitely one of those situations where I had worked with the Bureau of Land Management and the county and picked these spots, but they're like, you need to go put a cache out here. It's really cool. But then when we send our team down there to go place the cache, it ends up they end up almost getting stuck and end up in the middle of the desert and to go place this cache. And then
I was just going to say, we've approached all of the ones that we've placed with everyone's safety in mind.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, as a potential finder, I say thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Why a potential finder? Go get it, would you?
I need to.
Please come to Utah. Come visit us.
Maybe I can hitch a ride with Broncos fan.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
On
Broncos fan, I don't know if you're still listening in, but make sure you give Ben a call at Utah Office of Tourism before you come out, and you can get his number. He doesn't want me to give the number out, but just look at the website there and call the Utah Office of Tourism and let them know that you're coming out, and they'll talk to you for half an hour. They'll talk your ear right off about places to go and where to stay. So
Nice.
there's a bunch of great people in that office.
She replied that she will.
All
Okay,
right,
wonderful.
So on that note, about talking our ears off, we've been talking everybody's ears off tonight, and we're at an hour. We're maxing out our podcast time, and we're gonna let our poor listeners and our poor guests get to bed here shortly. But guys, we want to have you back on the show again in the future. This has been great, and I feel like we still have lots to talk about.
Oh, thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us. But before we go, we want to give an opportunity to each of our guests. If there's a way that you would encourage people to get in touch either with you or with the Discover Utah Geotour, what would be the best way to do that?
I would say you can always look at the caches on the Geotour landing page and send a message to the owner of that specific cache. If you're interested in that specific cache, that's probably the best way to do it. Visit Utah has a geocaching account, and you can send them account there. And you can also email them directly at visitutahgeotour@utah.gov if you'd like to send them an email. Or I'm sorry, it's just Utah Geotour. It's Utah Geotour, one word, at utah.gov. That's our email. If you want to order, we'll send you a Geo Passport before you come out, and so you can write the codes in the passport as you're going along and keep track of your passport, and we'll tell you where to stay or what you might expect to see, or we'll talk about the weather, whatever you want. We're here to make sure that you have a great time in Utah.
And you guys did a great job of that. So thank you very much.
Well,
All right.
you.
So listeners, we want to also remind you that it's the opportunity to get a little cashingnw.com clickbait. That's right. We're going to share with you what's coming up in the next few weeks. Possibly more amazing guests like this. Well, we'll tell you what. May 11th, that's show number 198. It's geocaching.com. They're going to talk about cache number 3 million and the advent of lists and what that means for pocket queries. May 18th, that's show number 199.
Ooh.
Well, it's TBD. I don't know who that is, but I guess we'll find out.
We're still working on a few guests, but May 25th is our 200th episode. So make sure you join us for that. We're working on something special.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And June 1st is show 201. We are talking with Gold Country Tourism, our good friend Terry Hadwin.
More geotours. Fantastic. Well, my fine co-host friends, until next week, where could our listeners find you all on the interwebs?
Well, for the Land Monkeys, as always, it's landmonkey.blogspot.ca. Let's try that again, landmonkey.blogspot.ca. But of course, we always encourage people to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That's at LandMonkeyGC. On Facebook, we're Team Land Monkey. And hey, those we're right on the cusp of starting to post those Utah videos on our YouTube channel. So that's just search Land Monkey. Thanks very much, Jenny. That's Land Monkey on YouTube. And just this week, we posted our Grand Canyon video. So that means Antelope Canyon, and then we're into Utah.
Oh, boy. Does it become YouTube or Utah Tube at that point?
It's Utah Tube.
Okay.
Excellent.
Wits End, where can people find you on that big, wide, World Wide Web?
Well, I'm Wits End on most social media platforms. Probably easiest just to go to twitter.com/witsend or even facebook.com/witsend. Shoot me a message. I might even get back to you. And you, Sir Chris of the Northwest.
He might just get back to you. Hey, look for Caching in W. You can find that on Facebook, Google+, or even the Twitters. But you know what? In case you missed it, you're probably driving. Not a good idea to be writing all this down. Just remember, cachingnw.com/hosts. You'll find everything we just mentioned there and maybe a few extra surprises.
All right. Well, speaking of extra surprises, we want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Remember that you can be a part of the show by calling 253-693-TFTC, leaving us a comment, asking us a question, or hey, giving us a ride to Utah any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Also, your support helps to keep quality shows coming. If you enjoyed this show and our fantabulous guests from Utah, please click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website. This show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copy all right, 2017 by Chris Umfenauer. And now, good friends, stay tuned for
The after show.
Ah, yes. You have to love the
After show.
And folks, that concludes our normal show for tonight.
Normal?
We are officially in the after show. This is a time of open discussion. If you guys want to say anything, in fact, we had some FTAS already posted, I think, before the show started. The hashtag FTAS is what we use for the after show. If you have something you want to talk about, you want to just, doesn't fit with the show topic, we're going to put it a little later. Just use the hashtag FTAS in the chat, and we'll make sure it gets talked about. So Bronco fan for life, wants to know what time the caches are being published in Richmond on Saturday. Is that this Saturday?
That is this Saturday coming. So just a couple of days from today, speaking of geotours, the city of Richmond is launching their second geotour, the Canada 150 Geotour.
150 caches all across Canada?
Yeah, all across Canada. Yeah, we were hoping. No, 20
Okay.
geocaches all across the city of Richmond, which is a very diverse and interesting, fun city to visit. And the event is going to run all day long. It's going to include geocaching 101 sessions and all that kind of stuff. But that's not what Broncos Fan for Life wants to know. She wants to know, when are the caches going to be published? The caches are going to be published later in the day. But we encourage people to come out to the event because you will get access to the coordinates before they get published if you come out to the event.
Oh, really? How very interesting.
Very interesting. Yes, I see Team Squirrel is coming up for the event.
Yes.
So that'll be awesome to see them again. They're starting to become more regular at Metrovan geocaching events than the Land Monkeys are.
Well, you never know. You never know. Sometimes you get people from the lower 48 that don't mind going up to Canada.
Yeah,
I've done it.
you have. It's a good track record there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Okay.
Hope to
What
do
else
it
do we
again.
have to talk about?
Scrolling through, looking for other
I don't remember any other FTAS. And Breiling won't tell us when the caches are going to be published.
Well, he technically answered the question.
Yeah, that's true. But, he answered it in a way that didn't give you any details.
Really, Breiling. How surprising. All right. Well, hey,
Those fans said, we asked Chris, but he's not allowed into Canada. I've been banned from an entire country. Sorry.
Well, you had a track record going of various states you were banned from, so I guess
Yeah.
the next
Most of the
logical
East
step.
Coast. I'm not allowed back there.
Oh dear.
Band on the run.
Funny. I do want to say thanks for wearing the vest on the show, Danny, or not the vest.
Oh
the
yeah, no
jacket.
problem.
It's
Great
awesome.
to actually see
Yeah,
what it
this
looks like.
is a sweet little jacket. Yeah,
Apparently, it's a very comfortable jacket to podcast in as well.
it is. It truly is.
It's so versatile.
Yeah, I wear it all over the place. Get all kinds of questions about it. It's not. It kind of stands out in a crowd. I like that.
It would, yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah, I also got to. I did make it out to to Geo Woodstock this year. My first mega, which is actually I went down to an Earth Cache mega. So I've been to 2 megas, and wearing this jacket, I tell you, people come and find you. But yeah, what a great time, and we're hoping that we'll be able to have the Visit Utah team go to more mega events to represent the Geotour. Hopefully,
Definitely.
That'd be great. Well, it's a
Now,
fantastic
weren't you
Geotour.
at, or not you specifically, but wasn't Visit Utah at the last block party?
Yeah, Ben Narlaki was able to go there. It's kind of interesting because he's a muggle. He's a straight up muggle, and that's an interesting story because the Geotour itself has been backwards from day one. You know, there was an intern at the Utah Office of Tourism who was a geocacher, and she sold them on the Geotour package, and they bought the Geotour package without having any caches placed. And so then she went and placed about 20 or so caches down in central and southern Utah, and then she was offered a job at Goldman Sachs and left the program. And none of the other people in the office were geocachers, so they'd spent quite a bit of money. They bought the best package for the Geotour, and nobody to help them, and no idea what geocaching was. So they turned to my compatriot at the Utah Office of Tourism, Ben Dodds, and said, "We want you to take over the geocaching program, the Geotour." And he was like, "Okay. By the way, what's geocaching?" And he's done a great job. You know, they sent him out to the block party, and he had a booth there, and was able to learn basically what geocaching was. And he went out and tried to place a bunch of geocaches, and they were always right next to an existing cache or some, you know, and he had a lot of trouble not ever having really found any caches himself or understanding the process. And so he tried to get the different county offices of tourism to form as well. And so you have a muggle asking a muggle to place a cache. Basically, it was really difficult for him, and he was able to get a hold of the Utah Reviewer, Blue Raja, who is one of the really just one of the original cachers, in my opinion, an amazing person. And he got a hold of me, and I had actually been trying to put a Geotour together in my own county, Weber County, which is up in northern Utah, and but I didn't have any funding, so it was like they had the program already, but it was on a much larger scale than I wanted to put together. You know, so I was like, I jumped in with both feet, and me and Ben started placing a few caches, and I'm an avid member of the Utah Association of Geocachers, and I was able to network with them to get the rest of the caches placed, and it took us over a year and a half to get all 146 placed, mostly because of the permissions was the hardest part.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
That, you know, we had to the actual red tape is absolutely amazing. The people you have to hunt down and get, and because we couldn't place an official state of Utah cache, you can't just go put that in the park and without letting the Parks and Recs know, and or a lot of them are on private property, you know, and so you know, it was quite a process. And then finding a local cacher in that county wasn't always easy. You know, there's a really great caching community in southern Utah, but in central Utah, they're kind of few and far between. Luckily, we found some of the great ones. We found one in Millard County, and we found one in Sevier County that could do surrounding counties. Those are the central counties, and they were able to do a couple of counties each. And you know, thank you, Helen, and thank you, Derek, for all your help there. It just kind of grew in kind of an organic fashion, really. All volunteer work, really. Our budget is not big at all. Just paying for the rights to the Geotours is the majority of our budget. So we're lucky that that the Office of Tourism kind of has some ability to buy ammo cans and things like that for us. But it's really just the geocaching community that put this together, which is great, you know. So we finally got all the caches out, and we've got all the patches made. The patches alone took a year to produce because the artist that produces them, she has a full-time job at the Utah Office of Tourism producing other stuff for them, and so we had to grab her and say, hey, we need one for for Iron County, and we need one for Davis County, and then you have to have that image has to be, each one of these images has to be okayed by the county office of tourism and the state office of tourism, and the governor in some cases the governor of Utah had to sign off on our Geotour image and our geocoin image, and that was kind of an experience. I'm like, really? Yeah. So it's been good though, and if anything, it just has increased awareness of this sport in the state of Utah.
That's fantastic.
Pretty cool stuff.
So it's easy to put a geotour together, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what I get out of it.
It's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the permissions had to go through in Duchesne and Uinta County with all that
Tribal land.
tribal lands out there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cleve Kutch in Duchesne County has been amazing helping us with that, is because we getting permissions in areas where people don't necessarily want tourists to go. You have like a Chamber of Commerce says, yeah, come to our county, but 95% of the county is private land or tribal land, and so you have to kind of finding a spot that there's some really neat spots. But that area is so amazing. There are Indian rock art, there's geology, there's the Uintas, which is a national forest, and it's just a beautiful area. And you'll go find a cache out there, and you'll be the only person out there for miles, so it's we did put the caches kind of close to the highway along there so that you could actually get through there and find those caches pretty quickly on your way out to eastern Utah and the Dinosaur National Park, and that area is pretty cool too. And there's a lot more tourist type places there over in the eastern and vernal area. And Utah has some great hotels and motels, and they're a little bit more they have a lot more services. But Duchesne County's right next to it. It's a lot of tribal land there, and pretty cool area. Really just a neat area to go visit.
It is really beautiful.
Bring your fishing pole. Yeah, bring your fishing pole.
It's beautiful country, but it's not necessarily somewhere they want you to linger.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of cool. It's actually, I think of the Geotour as being 3 Geotours, because you've got the southern Utah red and white desert sandstone, and then you get up into central Utah where you've got the Manti La Salle National Forest, and then you've got northern Utah where you've got the Great Salt Lake and the Uinta Mountains, and you go up to very north of Utah, you've got Bear Lake, which is a beautifully huge blue deep lake, and a lot of people go riding sailboats out there and fishing, and so I think that if you're going to do the Geotour, you should plan on packing a parka and a swimsuit at the same time, because it's a big state.
Where else can you be in the mountains and a couple hours later you can be in the desert?
It's true. It's so true.
That on our way to from Kodachrome to Cedar City. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you'll go from 3,000 feet in elevation up to 11,000 feet in elevation just to get from one cache to the next. It's a pretty cool area.
All right, you guys. Well, you know what?
So bring an oxygen tank too.
Yeah. So you guys must all be getting really tired. We really appreciate you hanging on for the after show. We definitely got lots more to talk with you guys. So we're going to be reaching out to you guys to do another episode in the future.
Okay.
I'm
Love
barely
to.
keeping my eyes open at this point, so I don't know how you guys in Utah are staying awake. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I might not be.
I violated my caffeine curfew.
It might not be. You might have Ben have to do it. We'll make Ben do it, or we'll make Hiking Seal do it. There are other big time helpers. That's Chris Rock. She's our data girl, and she can talk about all the surveys and stuff like that. Maybe she could come on in the future as well.
Fantastic.
I have a crazy schedule, but you know, there's so many of us that have contributed to this thing that each one of them deserves a little big thank you, and that's why I wanted to invite Nolan and Don on today, because they have really gone over and above to make this thing happen, and they were our first Geo ambassadors, so to
Very
find
nice.
them all, gotta find them all.
Yeah.
I have
Well-
4 more. That's all.
Not that you're counting.
No.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining
Yep.
us tonight. And
Have a good
folks
night.
listening, thank you for staying with us. Until
Mm-hmm.
next week, get out and get caching in the Northwest.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Have a good night.
Night.